Hi, it's Becky here from Genie Frog Crochet, and today's tutorial is about making this beautiful rice stitch ear warmer. Nice and easy, and I love the rice stitch. It's one of my favorites. Gives a lovely texture, but it's going to be lovely and warm because there's no holes really in the stitch texture. So this one here I made with Cygnet Boho Spirit in the shade Vamp. But for today's tutorial, I'm going to be making one using a lovely ball of yarn out of my stash. So it's Yarnsmiths Lagoon DK. And it is, where are we? The shade 2J150. So to make this ear warmer, you are going to need a DK weight yarn, a 5mm hook, a pair of scissors and a darning needle. I'm going to be using US terms throughout, so let's get ready to start. So the first thing you want to do is to put a slip knot on your hook. I've done one ready there and then realised I hadn't pressed record, so I'm going to do it again. So we're going to put a slip knot on our hook. So to make a slip knot, I just wrap it around my finger, pop the end through that loop and pull it, and that creates your slip knot. There we go. So to start this pattern, we are just going to chain 21. So to make a chain, you yarn over and pull the loop through that's on your hook. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 and 21. So you'll have 21 chains. Now this first row is just going to be a row of double crochets and that sets us up then to be able to start our rice stitch pattern in the next row. So we're going to work double crochets all along this chain. Now it's up to you if you want to go into your chain like this, but if you've seen any of my other videos, you'll know I prefer to go into the back bump of the chain just to give it a nice edge, especially with something like this because we're going to be joining the ends together, so it gives it a nice edge to join. But it's up to you. So in the third chain from your hook, 1, 2, 3, we're going to make a double crochet, and I'm going to twist my chain slightly and make it into the back bump here. So I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into that back bump and pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. So this chain stitch here at the beginning will count as a double crochet, and this is our first proper double crochet. So I'm now going to make doubles into every back bump along. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and you can see when you're going into the back bump after you've done a couple, it automatically twists for you, so it's easier to find. So yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and that's all this pattern is actually going to be, is double crochets. You just make the texture by where you put them, which we will see. So double crochets all the way along your chain. So I'm going to do the rest of those off camera and you can pause the video and meet me when we get to the end of this chain. Okay, so I'm just going to pop my last double crochet in that last chain, like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my work. I'm not going to chain at all, and to make the first double crochet of each row, I'm going to do a stacked single crochet. Sorry, there's a motorbike going past outside. So to do a stacked single crochet, we're going to go into that first stitch, no chains at all, and make a single crochet. So insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2, and then we're going to stack another single crochet, but we're going to pop it under this bar here of the single that we just made. So we're going to insert into that loop, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2, and that then counts as our first double crochet of the row. So the first and last double crochet of each row is going to be just a standard double crochet. The rest of the stitches are going to be front posts and back posts, and that's what gives us our rice stitch pattern. So we're going to start with a front post double crochet. So all you do is, for a front post, you yarn over because you're making a double crochet, and you go into the front of your work around that next double crochet stitch. You go underneath it, pop your hook out the other side, yarn over, pull through 2 and pull through 2. So you're making a double crochet, but instead of doing it into the top of the stitch where you normally would, you're doing it around the bar, and you go into the front for a front post double crochet. So the next stitch we're going to do a back post double crochet. So you're going to yarn over and you're going to come in from the back of your work and around the next post, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 and yarn over and pull through 2. So we've got a front post and then a back post, and then you do a front post in through the front of your work, make a double crochet, and the next one back post, so in through the back of your work, around that post, make a double crochet. And that's all this pattern is just alternating front post, back post, front post, back post. We're going to do that all the way to the end. So yarn over, insert the front of your work around that post and make a double crochet. And then the next stitch, we're going to come in from the back and around the post and make a double crochet. And you can see the further along you get, oops, how it's going to make this wonderful texture that gives it a bit of squish, because we all love a bit of squish, but it also makes it incredibly warm. So this is a really good stitch for things like this, because there's no gaps where the cold wind can get through. So just alternate front posts and back posts all of the way. So I'm going to do a front post there. I've got essentially two stitches left. So I've got a post I'm going to do my last back post double crochet. But then we've also got that turning chain from our foundation chain. So I'm just going to make a regular double crochet into the top of that chain. She says. Into that chain there. I'm going to make a double crochet. Because as I said, we're going to start each row just with a regular double crochet, but it'll be a stacked stitch, and we're going to end with a regular double crochet, and then our textured stitches will be along the middle. So let's go on to the next row. So we're just going to turn our work again, no chains, and we're going to do a stacked stitch into this first stitch in here. So this first stitch, we're going to make a single crochet, so insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, then we're going to go into this bar and make another single crochet, and that's our first double crochet. So for the next row, you are basically going to make the opposite of what you did on the last. So you're going to do a front post around the back posts and a back post around the front posts, and I will explain to you what I mean by that. So this stitch is kind of raised towards us, and so is this one. So you'll see the ones that are raised towards us, we now need to pull them back the other way. Make sense? No. So we are going to make a back post double crochet. So yarn over, insert from the back of your work, and make a back post double crochet. This one here is more out towards the back of your work. So now we're going to make a front post double crochet to pull it back through this way. So last row we started, if you look, we started with a front post double crochet. So we went front, back, front, back, front, back, front, back. This row you're starting with a back post. So it's every row you're going to start on the opposite. So you're going to start with a front post first, then a back post, then a front post, then a back post. It'll become more obvious the further on you get. So this one here is raised out towards us. So we're going to go in from the back and do a back post. And then the next one we're going to do a front post. And then back post. And front post. And it's as simple as that. It's just these 2 rows repeating, and you always do fronts in the backs from the last row and backs in the fronts from the last row. And once you get used to how the stitches look after you've made them, it'll be easier for you to identify. And it's a nice one because it's alternating. It's nice, what I call mindless crochet after a while. You don't have to think too much about it. There's no counting involved now that you've done your first chain. Just fronts, backs. And the last one there is going to be a front post. And then into our stacked stitch that we started the round with on that last round, into the top of that stacked stitch. So if you can see, this is our stacked single crochets from the last round. Got 2 loops there, which is the top of that second single crochet that you did. That's the top of that. So that essentially now is the top of our double crochet. So we're just going to do a regular double crochet in there, no back or front. If I can get my loop back on my hook. There we go. So into those 2 loops, we're just going to do a regular double crochet in there. And that is the end of your second row. So you can see it's giving us this lovely texture. So you're just going to then turn your work and do the same again. Start with a stack stitch. And then a front around the back one. And a back around the front one. So at this point, you need to measure your head. So my head measures, it's got a circumference of approximately 22 inches. So the same as with the waffle stitch head warmer that I did, all you want to do is you want to make your panel out as long as your head measurement, but -2. So because my head measurement is 22 inches, I'm going to be making this approximately 20 inches long. Okay, so just get your head measurement for you or whoever you're making it for, and just subtract 2, and that's how long you want to make your panel. When mine measures 20 inches, I will meet back up with you. Okay. Okay, so I've just gotten to the point where I thought, oh, I'll give it a measure, and it's a good job I did, because I'm just over 19 inches. So I'm going to make this last row my final row. For this ear warmer, because it's the same on both sides, you don't sort of have a back and a front, so that's fine. You don't need to end on any specific row. So I'm just going to do one more before I pull the ends together and show you how I join them. I'm absolutely in love with the way this yarn is worked up. I think it's going to be gorgeous. And I do think this stitch looks really nice in a single colour yarn as well, not colour changing, because it shows up the texture then as well. So this is a perfect little project to make for Christmas gifts, stocking fillers. Or just make a load for yourself, one in every colour. There we go. One. And a front post one. And then my final double crochet in there. So now I'm going to turn my work and I'm going to bring the ends of my work together so it's not twisted at all, it's just flat. You can see that. And I'm just going to join. It's entirely up to you how you want to join. You can join by sewing if that's what you want to do. I'm not a fan of sewing myself, so I am going to do a slip stitch join, and I'm going to do it in the back loop only. So in this first stitch here, just going to go into the back loop, and on the other end in that first stitch I'm going to go into the back loop like that, and then I'm just going to pull the yarn through and make a slip stitch, and I'm going to do that in every stitch along, back loop only. And if you didn't do your first row into the back bumps like I did, then you may just have, on this beginning end, you may just have like a chain loop, but that's fine. You can slip stitch to that as well. It's a nice, whoops, easy join. Oh, for goodness sake. Nice and easy, she says. And then I can't do it. My hands are tired now. And I'm really glad as well that my colours seem to have matched up. Obviously with a colour change in yarn, it depends where you start in the sequence of changes, whether it'll match up at the beginning. But that's matching up lovely. I'm happy with that. So this, it should make this seam relatively invisible now. Back loop, back loop, back loop, back loop, and then I've got one left. Slip stitch into there. Then you can fasten off and chain one and pull through, pull it nice and tight, and the other end, pull that nice and tight. Then I'm going to weave these ends in, which is nice and simple to do, particularly because my colours are matching up. But you just want to hide your end in as best you can. Oops, sorry. There we go. I'm just going to bury it in there. Go back the other way. There we go. And I'm going to do the same for the other one, and then you can turn your ear warmer back around the other way, and there you have it. Oh, I'm really happy with the way this yarn's come out. Look how beautiful that is. So there we go. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial and you found it helpful. If you don't already subscribe to my channel, I would really appreciate it. And if you've enjoyed this, then obviously hit the like button, and I'd love if you could leave me a comment or let me know if you're making one. There is also a Facebook community group you can join. The link is on my page. So thanks ever so much, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.